Gotcha. All right, everybody. We are recording this, so if you want to look back at this later, that is fine. We'll send you the link to it. We'll also put it in resources for you, okay? Feel free to interrupt, raise your hand, raise it virtually, or just raise your hand. If I don't see you, maybe Jake will help me. But ask questions as we go. I do these things live because I want to interact with you and I want to answer the questions that you have. All right. I'm going to share my screen. You don't want to see that. Okay, everybody good? Everybody with me?
Yep.
Okay. Before we get really into this presentation, I want you to know about some of these upcoming events. Everything's happening virtually now, guys. Networking is happening virtually. And I would highly encourage you, especially those of you who've already graduated and you're looking for jobs now, I would highly encourage you to try to go to these virtual networking events, especially if it relates to you. So PR majors for sure, but this could be anything. Resilience Matters, job searching, right? So it's virtual and it's free to PRSSA members. You can come in for $25 as a non-member. And so you might think, well, why am I going to go to this? I don't get to actually see somebody. But you know, Jennifer, oh, I forgot her name. The woman who is presenting that day, Jennifer Robinson, she's fantastic. She's a social media queen. But there are going to be other people there you may be able to interact with, ask questions, and then connect with them later online, maybe through your LinkedIn. And you say, Jennifer, I loved what you presented today, last night. It was so nice to hear. I really appreciate your advice. I'm hoping that I can connect with you here on LinkedIn, right? So it's a way in to stay in touch with someone who may be able to help mentor you or give you feedback or introduce you to someone. So don't look at these things as, well, I'm just gonna pop in and watch. Interact, take action after. Slice Communications has a social media day. They run it every year. This is cheap. They're doing it virtually. They have amazing international people come in and talk about social media. I went to this one year. I learned so much. If I can, I'm going to go to this and pop in on as many of these workshops as I can, because these are the leaders in this field. And again, you go to a workshop, you see somebody, wow, I'd love to talk to this guy who's coming here from Google or from Amazon or, you know, any of these big companies. And this is a way that you can kind of connect after you connect with them or hear them at these conferences. If you're interested in the music business, I highly recommend you go to this Next Gen Now Summit. Yeah, it's pricey. I think you guys get a break because you're students, and Temple Klein College makes you a member of the Music Business Association. So check this out. If this is what you want to do, there are going to be some great contacts here. Feel free to take a picture of this. We will be promoting this as well. So watch your inbox for more information on this. Questions about that? And I'll be talking more about networking. I also want you to know, I'm going to talk a little bit about Klein Connect, about Handshake, but there are other places to go to look for jobs. One of them, especially you MSP guys, staffmeup.com. If that's something that you don't know about, it's kind of, and you know, production has come to a halt, but I am talking to people now who are finding a way to bring production back. I just talked to a producer the other day he's out in LA and he's gearing it back up. So things are starting to come back as people figure out how to work around COVID-19. This is a kind of, they post gigs kind of projects, startups, but we have had a number of Temple students get their first job through Staff Me Up. So check that out. This is PR News is also just a great place to check for job seekers. MEO Jobs Online aggregates all media and communication jobs. And then Synopsis Media, somebody just told me about this, is a great place to check out jobs. So check in on these different sites, because within the industry, sometimes they're posting here before they're posting other places. So here's the truth. It's going to be tough. You seniors who've just graduated and those of you in your senior year, it's going to be a very bumpy ride here, guys. I am not going to kid you. That means you have to work smarter. It means you have to be more strategic. It means you're going to have to really use your network, okay? It's not like it was 6 months ago where so many jobs were out there. There are going to be fewer jobs, so we're going to talk about how you are going to be the one to grab one here. This is temporary. We don't know how long. It may be a year. It may be another year and a half. I really think until we get a vaccine, it's going to be bumpy. There are jobs. There are opportunities, but it may not be exactly what you were thinking about. And you may need to be open to doing some different things. Advertising, marketing, content creation, social media, these are all skills that are easily go virtual. So we're seeing those come back first. People with multi-skills, a number of skills, special skills like being bilingual. Employers are looking for diversity. So there are certain things that are really hot right now, but they're also looking for a very strong work ethic and for evidence that you are doing things on your own, even now. And we'll talk about how to do this. The other thing I just want you to know is we are here for you. More than ever, our door is open. This is the first time we've been doing workshops through the summer because everybody has just been going off and getting jobs. And now we are just keeping our doors open to support you in any way we can. So no, even though some of you have graduated, you can come back in, make an appointment anytime you want, have me look at cover letters. If you get a job interview and you want to do a mock interview, please email me directly. Let me know, I can help you. This is going to be a job, getting a job. So today we're going to talk about how you are going to connect with your network, how you're going to optimize your LinkedIn, your resume, your cover letter. We're not going to go into LinkedIn, resume, and cover letter deeply today, but we have workshops on all of these things. Tomorrow we have a LinkedIn workshop tomorrow night, and in the afternoon, a resume and cover letter workshop. And again, if you want to make an appointment with me, we can go over things individually with you. We're going to talk about creating a targeted strategy, not just like spraying out your resume and cover letters everywhere. How can we target it? Quality job search. I'll tell you more about free resources, and then we'll sum this up. So obviously networking has changed, and really changed now because it's very unlikely, even those of you still in school, that we're going to have a big old career fair or recruiters are going to be coming in and shaking your hands. All of that is going to be different. You're going to need to be communicating like this, probably more one-on-one virtually. Before we start talking about networking, I want you to think about who is in your network. And I know some of you are thinking, well, I don't really know anybody. Yeah, you do. Yes, you do. You went to Klein College or you're in Klein College, you know people. You know your professors, You know, maybe students who graduated ahead of you who are in their first jobs or maybe in their second jobs. Maybe they did a project with you. Maybe they were in an organization with you. I want you to think about that. I want you to brainstorm. I want you to take out a piece of paper, whatever you want to do, a spreadsheet. I want you to think about every single person that is going into the field or in the field that you know, your professors that you did well in their classes, staff, faculty, people that you can connect with at Temple, former mentors or mentors, people who have mentored you, former employers, even if these employers were not in your field, you worked at Wawa and you had a boss who adored you, okay? Stay in touch because you don't know. Alumni, any chance to meet and connect with alumni, there's going to be a lot more of those opportunities coming up and you can connect with them online. You know about the Klein College Career Center. Any organizations that you were a part of, this is your network, is your net, right? Your net is going to keep you afloat here and is going to help you be a person who gets ahead of the pack, okay? So work the network as much as you can. And we'll talk about how do you do that. Family, friends, anybody you know in the business. If you're still in school, ask your professors for advice. Go up, ask to talk to them, ask for a virtual one-on-one. You are not bothering them. I just had a meeting with professors the other day. A lot of your professors in your major, they worked in the industry. They know people. If they know you and they know your skills and they know your work ethic, there is a possibility that they could connect you to someone who can help you. That's every time you go to class, that's an opportunity. Ask to see them one-on-one during their office hours. That's what they're there for. I just met with professors and adjuncts the other day, and I encourage them to open their door more to you and let you know they are a resource. Of course, be polite and sensitive as you're applying for things or you're trying to reach out to people because it is a tough time. Maybe people you worked for before, they're just trying to keep their business open and their hair's on fire right now. So don't take it personally if you don't hear from someone immediately, right, during this time. Be polite, of course. I know you all are. Let's just review LinkedIn really quick. This is one profile of a former student who just got a job, full-time job with benefits. So we're very happy for her. Megan Solomon, she was working in the Career Center. This is just an example of the way, one example of the way your profile should look, but one of the things I want to point out to you is, and again, the nice profile shot, smiling where I can recognize you. If you're going into a very, very creative side of things, you can be creative. If you're going into broadcast news, as some of you have talked about, it could be you with a mic, but I want that profile shot to be close up. And then in the background, in this banner, you could do something wider, a studio, you in the field, okay? Brand that blue space in the back. Personalize it. I mean, Megan just put her name in and she's in public relations, okay? It's like, this is my name, okay? But if you have a blank blue slate like everybody else and an employer is coming to land on your page, you're not making the most use of this branding opportunity, right? Be very careful and strategic about what these words are under your name, these key words. I just saw a great student sent me her LinkedIn and her keywords were the job she was in. Well, if the LinkedIn is a search engine. So let's say your job right now is, I don't know, retail sales at Target, I don't know. But that's not the job you want. That's not what you want there. If you put Temple student here, That's not what you want either, even if you are a student right now. Because employers are looking, recruiters are looking. They aren't putting in Temple student. They're putting in content creator, MMJ, advertising, graphic designer, right? Think about what are the words you are using to look for a position or an internship right now. Those are the keywords you want under your name. If underneath that you want to put Temple student, that's fine. But you see, and this worked for her, public relations, event planning, content creation, copywriting. I talked to an alum out in LA who just got a job with Snapchat through his LinkedIn. He had been out there for a year, and the recruiter found him because they were looking for someone with some news and some video editing, and he had those keywords under his name. All right, so very critically important. And the next part is, I want to make sure that you all have an about section. This is another place where you can use those keywords. Talk about yourself. Who are you? What do you want to do? You know, if you're seeing the jobs or internships you're looking for with certain keywords, sprinkle those words in here. That will help. But tell your story. Don't talk about yourself in the third person. Talk about yourself in the first person. LinkedIn is powerful, guys, if you use this correctly. You're going to know if you have the right keywords in here. If you look in that little jobs tab on LinkedIn and you see jobs you want. If you are seeing jobs you don't want, keep playing with these keywords till it starts feeding you things that you're actually interested in. I'm going to pause. Questions about this, guys? Questions about this? Any questions about what should be on your LinkedIn profile? Yeah, Monica, go ahead.
How long do you think the about section should be? Like roughly how many words?
You know, you can make it as long as you want. What I would advise is more than a few sentences. This is your introduction, right? If someone lands on you, you want them to get a good sense of you, and you've got plenty of room. What I would tell you, don't make one big clunky paragraph. You see how this one's broken up in a few sentences? Make it easy to read. Make it interesting. Give it a little personality too. Let them know who you are. This is also a place where you can go, I'm also an international, ask me about pogo stick competitions. I'm an international pogo stick competitor, right? Or this might be a place to say, you know, talk about, I was supposed to be in Japan covering the Olympics and that didn't happen. But yes, Madison, right? You can talk about that. You can talk about that in your cover letters. You can talk about that. But instead, I'm creating my own YouTube channel right now, right? This is a place, by the way, you can change this overnight. Don't feel like this is your about section and this is the way it's going to be forever. You're going to change it as you evolve and your experience evolves.
Could we use bullet points?
Yes, you can. Feel free to use bullet points. Yeah. No, anything that makes it scannable and easier to read is good. But also you do want to give it a little, give it you know, let them know who you are. Other questions about that? And again, I'm happy to look at your LinkedIn about section or your profile when you're ready. We'll make an appointment. I'll give it the once over. Okay.
I have a question real quick.
Yeah.
Are you going to be resuming the free LinkedIn headshot pictures?
Yeah, we're going to try.
Okay.
I mean, we know that some students will be on campus. Not all students will be on campus. It might not be every afternoon. We might have to pick a day and say, it's LinkedIn day, you know, all day long, right? I have to figure out what student workers I'm going to have. The Career Center is not going to be a place in the future, in the near future, where we're doing workshops or even career coaching. We're doing all of that virtually. It's just such a tight space. I think we are going to try to very carefully bring people in to do the LinkedIn headshots. And we'll have the career closet in the back too. But it's such a tight space in there, we want to be careful.
Mhm.
Yeah. We're going to try, see how it goes. Maybe we'll set up in the atrium. It's a little more air. But yeah, we'll do our best with it. In your LinkedIn, just really go into depth. You know, on your resume, you're limited. You only have so much room, but this is your chance to really talk about what you did. Again, bullet points are good. I don't care if you weren't paid. I don't care what experience is going into your experience section on LinkedIn. If it was volunteer, but it was related to your major, or you were getting relevant experience, just like on your resume, make sure that activity or what you were doing, it's TUTV, or you were the PR chair for an event, that goes in your experience up here, not at the bottom where someone will have to scroll down to see that, okay? If you want your part-time jobs that are unrelated to be in here, you can. They don't have to be in here. It depends how much you have. But you can upload videos, you can upload content, you can make this very visual. You can use the word I, me, my. You know, when I tell you on resumes, no, don't put it there. Here on LinkedIn, yes, it can be personal. Okay. Anytime you're connecting with someone, on LinkedIn, you don't want to connect with anyone until you know your profile's ready for prime time. Okay, once that's ready for prime time, you can start talking to people and connecting with people. So let's say you go to that social media conference and that guy from Seattle at Amazon did this fascinating social media workshop and you want to connect with them. You're going to say, hey, hi, Joe, I was in your workshop, fascinating, in Philadelphia. I'm a Temple student. I'd love to connect with you here. Your first thing here is not to ask for a job. You're just connecting. Hey, that's great. That was such a great event. I'd love to connect. Let me know if I can help you, right? It's networking, right? Be nice, be polite. You know, you're not going to ask somebody that you don't know at all for a job. Though you might connect with a Temple Owl who works somewhere you want to work and say, hey, I see you work at so-and-so. I'm a Temple Owl. I'm graduating. I'd love to have your insights or get you, have a virtual coffee with you and learn more about the company. I see there's an opening there. Just do it in a way that makes sense, but not like, hey, I need a job. Help me, right? Be polite. Ask politely. Some people are going to ignore you, but some people are going to connect with you and say, sure, what can I do for you? Okay, especially if it's a Temple Owl. All right, and this is just talking about meeting people at events. Again, you can come to a LinkedIn workshop and we'll tell you more about how to use it to connect. But before I move on, questions about LinkedIn. Again, connecting with all those people who just graduated above you and they're your first connections. Just remember, that's powerful stuff because all of their first connections become your second connections. That's your network is going to grow and you're going to have more access, right? Monica, is that a hand up?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I had the opportunity to be a production assistant for the Wall of Welcome America event,
Yes.
but I was mostly like observing everything. Like, should I just say that I mostly observed, or like I feel like I didn't do a lot. So
I think you should talk about what was learned from your observations. You know, what you were included in. The fact that you were selected for that, it's a competitive internship. I mean, definitely should be in there. And if you want to go over how do you word that, you know, we can talk about that. But all those people, whoever you were observing, you should be connected with and talking to and continuing to talk to. For you seniors, like this is, you can't, it's too early to apply for jobs. This is your networking time. Like build that network that you're going to be using through, not just now, through your entire career. This isn't just a now thing. I can assure you, the alumni out there who, you know, may have been laid off or furloughed at this point, they're going to their network and they'll survive. Stronger the network, stronger your career. Okay, let's just do a quick review of resumes. Again, you want to make sure that all of your documents are beautiful, right? As a senior, generally we're telling you to put your education down at the bottom. If your academic is so stellar and there's something you really want to show it off, an incredible GPA, academic honors, there might be a reason right now to leave it at the top, because it's the last time. Once you get your first job, you're definitely putting education down at the bottom. So it's kind of the last time to show it off. But mostly employers want to know what your experience is. So if you have relevant experience, that's what you want to put first. Then skills, then maybe some part-time jobs if you want to list those. Again, it depends what you're doing. If you had that amazing internship that was pulled out from under you, or a job offer that was pulled out from under you, I am talking to recruiters who are saying it's okay to list it on your resume and that it was, you know, canceled due to pandemic. Maybe you don't put it on your resume. Maybe you, again, mention it in your LinkedIn, or, you know, it becomes relevant in a cover letter. But, and if there's a gap in your resume where you start doing, you know, hey, you may have to work at some other job right now to make some money until things change. Recruiters and employers are going to be understanding of this. But what I'm going to tell you is it's really important if you're going into journalism, you should write. You should create your own thing. If you're going into broadcast news, you know, definitely you want to put your reel up there. You want to maybe create a YouTube channel. You want to be creating something if you can, or volunteering, using your content creation, journalism skills somewhere. Because employers are going to be looking for, when they do start hiring, what were you doing during the pandemic? Now, if you're coming back, you got another semester or two for your senior year, you know, get whatever campus experience you can. Maybe see if you can get another virtual internship. They're all virtual right now. Okay. It's one page still, guys, and we can help you with that. Bullet points, starting with action verbs. The more you can quantify what you did, the more you can talk more about your achievements than just duties or responsibilities. What did you achieve in this experience? The better. And again, this is something that we can help you with if you're not sure. This is nice and plain. It's good to have, if you're going into a very creative field, you can be more creative with a little color, little dashes, something. But if you're using an applicant tracking system, a black and white without color, lines, anything like that, it goes through better. Questions, here's just another example. We can put a lot on a resume. So Don't tell me I got too much for one page. I guarantee you we can help you get it all on one page. All sorts of templates on Klein Connect under resources. I'm going to stop here again. Questions about resumes, guys? Questions? Huh? Everybody good? Sam, you good? Both Sams? You? No, not Sam.
I had a question.
Yeah, Will.
How do we determine what's important to put on the resume if we are running out of room?
Well, I know, for example, on your resume, you've got a banner at the top. We may have to reconsider that. How are
And
you using?
Replace it with what? Just take it out?
Or reduce the size?
Okay.
Because right now, everything is important. Anything that you've done, I wouldn't want you taking things off unless, I mean, at this point, no one should have anything from high school. After your freshman year, no one should have anything from high school unless it's something like Eagle Scout or something that's really amazing. Then you won the National Spelling Bee. I don't know, something like something pretty outstanding. So, or if there's an experience that you feel like you don't really want to talk about, you don't need to talk about, it wasn't great, and you wanted to take it off your resume and you've got plenty of other experiences, you can do that. But otherwise, I wouldn't be taking off at this point. I'd be finding ways to make more room on your resume.
I also have a question. So
Sure.
I went to community college before. Is that okay to put on stuff that I was involved in then?
Yes, good question.
Okay.
So what you would do, for example, if you see here, this is like a format for education, Temple University, Philadelphia, Klein College of Media and Communication, all of that. Then what you would do is under that, you would put your community college. Did you get an associate's there?
I did.
Okay, and then list that and what year, right? And then you can list any of the things that you did at the community college, and then that all makes sense to the employer. If you went to community college and you didn't do anything there and you don't want to talk about your experience there, it is your option. You don't have to put it there. So if it's really determined by, do you have a story you want to tell about the community college or other college that you went to?
Okay, thank you.
Make sense?
Yeah.
You can format it the same way, maybe, space and then start
Yep.
up again. But Temple goes at the top because that's where you're graduating.
I actually use this exact resume template for
Oh,
mine.
good.
So
Okay.
I did the exact same thing that you did, that you told me. Put the community college below the Temple, and then I put the community stuff at the bottom of my resume. Right?
Well, so,
terms
I mean,
of-
you're going in reverse chronological order.
Yeah.
Right. So anything you're doing now goes to the top and then you're going backward in time. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yep.
But if you want to put like, I know Jake's working, I hope you don't mind me talking about it, Jake is working at Amazon this summer. And,
Go ahead, it's
maybe
fine.
that's, huh? Maybe
You're
that,
fine. Go ahead.
okay, maybe it's relevant to an employer, maybe it's not. Maybe on some resumes he puts it on and he puts it in under a category called additional work because he doesn't want it at the top of his resume. So he makes a new category called additional work. Oh, and I did this too, if he wants. Or not, You get to tell the story you want to tell on your resume. All right, you all need to know about applicant tracking systems. So many companies are using it. If you apply to anything like NBC Universal or Comcast, anything like that, your resume is going to go through an ATS, which is software that will read your resume for those keywords we've been talking about to see how many match up with their job posting. So again, another reason to pay very close attention to the keywords in the job posting, in the job description, and make sure those keywords are in your resume and on your cover letter. If you apply to a job at Temple, you'll go through the Taleo system. We do have something called job scan, which is free to you, and it's free to alumni for a year. And I'm gonna get out of this for just a second. I want to show it to you guys. I want you to see where these resources are. If you go to the Temple University Career Center resources, online resources, I'm showing this to you because they bury this. They make it so difficult for you to find, but there are some really good resources. This is where you'll find Handshake. And I should mention, you know, Klein Connect is only media and communication jobs and internships. That's all I take in. Handshake is the universe of jobs. You guys have access to both. You should be using both. Okay, especially if you're job hunting, use both. This is where I would start because these are people looking for Temple alum. Okay, here's job scan right here, guys. And what you do is you upload your resume and your cover letter, and then here. It will give you, and then you upload a copy of the job posting, and it will give you a score. And it's going to give you an indication as to whether you can get through an applicant tracking system. Whether you're dealing with an applicant tracking system or not, this is a really good free exercise that you should use because it will give you some ideas of how you might better get through that system. This is such a cool tool. You would be paying for this if you were not at Temple. So I absolutely would advise you to look at it. Guys, one other thing that I think, oh, where did it go? They're always moving things around here. Interview string. You can practice with me if you get an interview. This is another great way. All of your interviews right now are probably going to be virtual. So this is a perfect way to practice. See how you're going to look, see how you're going to sound. You can practice. It will pitch you questions, you answer, you get to watch yourself. Yeah, it's all uncomfortable, right? But I guarantee you, you want to practice. We'll talk about that in a second here. But use those online resources, guys. They're good. Cover letters, very quickly. What am I doing on time? Okay. I'm going to keep harping about these keywords because it's just so important. When you look at a job posting, a job that you want, you need to look at that job posting and really go through it with a fine-tooth comb and figure out what are they looking for. Underline or make a list of the key points, the skills that you have that they're asking for. If you don't have that skill, don't worry about it. You're not talking about that. You're talking about the life experience, the college experience, the relevant experience that you have that relates specifically to what they want, what they're asking for. Research the company, right? So when you do this ahead of time, then you know, okay, I'm going to hit on these things that they're looking for. Main point, never, never, never copy and paste your cover letter. I've had seniors, or I've had, you know, alumni say, oh, I sent out 50 cover letters and nobody got in touch. I know it's because you copied and pasted. Every single employer wants a uniquely crafted cover letter written for them. That's more work for you, but it's better to put out 5 really good quality cover letters that were specifically written for that employer than to copy and paste, because they'll know it. You know, make it clear that you know what that organization does and why you want to work for them or intern for them, not just because you need that internship or job, because you are into what they do. And again, we have a cover letter workshop where we'll talk more about that. But this is the basic format you want. You're not going to take that resume and dump it onto your cover letter and say, I did this, and then I did this, and then I did this. You're telling them a story about yourself and how it relates to what they specifically are looking for. It's not that you're going to reinvent the wheel every time if you're looking for the same kind of job. It will be similar, but they should be different. The employer should know, wow, Monica could not have written this cover letter for anyone else but us. She watched what we do. She knows who we are. She knows what we're looking for, right? A cover letter like that stands out because there's so many bad ones out there. So write a standout cover letter. And again, we can help you do that.
I was wondering, like, how long should one cover letter take? Like, should it be like a 30-minute, or like what would be a time limit?
What do you mean, how long to write?
Yeah, to create a cover letter, like what's the ideal time to complete one?
That all depends on you. You know, I will tell you that students have told me, and I think this is true, if you're a really good fit for a job and you're excited, it's going to take less time for you to write that cover letter because it just feels like a good match. If you're struggling and going, I don't know what this company does, I'm not sure why I'm applying, it doesn't feel, then maybe it's not a good fit, right? You should be very careful in making sure the grammar's right, the spelling's right, because this is also a writing sample. This is their first impression of you on paper, how you express, I keep saying paper, but how you express yourself. If they've asked for a cover letter, they definitely want one. If a cover letter is optional, guys, it's not optional for you. I guarantee you. They're going to look at the people who wrote the cover letters first. And then they're going to wonder why the other applicants didn't take the time to do that. I know because I've done it on the employer side. So if it's optional, it's not optional for you. Absolutely do it. Make sure it's a good one. And I can read all your cover letters. If you upload a cover letter into Klein Connect, I will look at it. It doesn't matter if you're applying for a job through Klein Connect. You can be applying for a job anywhere. I will look at your cover letter, make sure the grammar's right, the spelling's right, the format's right. And if I feel like you've gone way off in the wrong direction, I will pull you back in. Okay. Hand up, Sam.
How much personality should you infuse into your cover letter? Like how casual, I guess, can it be?
So depends on how casual and creative the job posting is. I would say it's really good to match their tone. It's a very creative agency, like some of the advertising agencies, match their tone. But for the most part, you're not going to say, hey, Sarah, I'm really excited about applying for your job. You're not going to call them by their first name. It's Miss whatever, unless Sarah was someone you met or you know personally or came into a class and said, oh, you can call me Sarah, right? Some of the recruiters are very informal. If you have an interaction with a recruiter and they say, oh, yeah, just reach out to me, you could do that. But for the most part, it's Mr. Smith, Ms. Smith, but you can be, or dear Red Tenemer hiring manager. I mention Red Tenemer because they're a very creative agency and they write a very creative job posting. So they're looking for your creativity and personality. If you're applying to Comcast, no. If you're applying to Independence Blue Cross, no. Keep it buttoned up in corporate. Nice and straightforward. If it's a legacy New York Times, Washington Post kind of thing, nice and corporate. If it's BuzzFeed, it's something else. And I know what I'm telling you isn't easy because you're having to intuit all of this, right? You're having to go, oh, well, this is a corporate thing and I got to keep it like this. This is a creative thing and I got to keep it like this. But this is the world you live in, and the more that you can read this correctly, it's like reading people when you meet them, the better it's going to be. Watch the tone. If they're being funny and cute in the job posting, you match it with funny and cute.
I have a question.
Sure.
So I've been I've been on an interview once where, actually a couple of times where I was asked for about like the question was, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years or 5 to 10 years? And for some reason that question really does irritate me, and not to the point where like I obviously have a ignorant response or anything, but it's just like, for someone like me at this point in time, I am a senior. I will be graduating in the fall. I'm still trying to figure it out. So it's like when that question is asked, I'm put on the spot and I'm like, okay, so what do I say? And that kind of may put them in an awkward situation.
This is a great segue into our next section. And that is a question that you might get. Tell me again, what's your major?
I am a journalism major. And
what kind of journalism?
I'm still figuring. I'm just inclined as a journalism major, but I've did for broadcast, performance, news courses and things like that, but mostly writing.
So look, you don't have to be specific. It could be, your answer to that question can be, I see myself in a creative space where I'm telling stories about things that make an impact. I mean, it really depends. This is where they're really asking what's important to you. And they're also kind of asking, are you going to stick around? Mm-hmm. It's kind of the subtext of that question. Hey, if we invest in you and we hire you, will you stick around? Or are you saying, I'm going to do this newspaper thing, but I really want to be in broadcast news. So don't count on me and, sticking around. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you can keep it fairly vague if they ask you that question. Okay. I mean, but you can keep it broad. I see myself being a reporter, telling stories that make a difference, and becoming better at my craft. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Period.
All right.
Okay. But it's good to think about it. And it's good to know what is your answer before they hit you with it. I think if you feel prepared and when they hit me with that question, that's what I'm pulling out, you'll be fine. Okay, but let's talk about these questions. Yeah, go ahead. Is there something else?
Oh, no, I was just saying thank you.
The trickiest question, guys, is tell me about yourself. You think that's the easiest question, but it is the hardest question. And if you go in without practicing or knowing what you're going to say for this, you can totally end up going down the rabbit hole and like blowing the thing. Tell me about yourself is not about, well, I grew up in, unless it's relevant, it might be, I grew up in Bucks County and I thought I was going to be in sports, but then I decided, no, I don't want to do that. And then, no, this is not the story you're telling. You're going to say, I've just graduated from Temple. I'm really excited about the opportunity to work in broadcast news. My last experience was with TUTV as the anchor. I'm making this up. And I'm so excited. I'm ready, to talk to you about this opportunity in Savannah. I'm totally open to moving and see that Next Star is a great company to work for. Again, right, but it shouldn't be longer than that. And that's all they're asking. Maybe, and this is a question, it's going to be different for each of you, and it may be different depending on who you are talking to. Tell me about yourself. But you don't have to tell everything, and it's going to be quick. 1 minute, guys. You don't really want to be talking for more than 1 minute. The next question, if they don't ask it, is, why do you want to, if you don't answer it here, is why do you want to work for us? Or what brought you to us today, Monica? What brought you here? And that's where they're saying, what do you know about us? And are you one of our kind of people? So that means you need to make sure on any interview you do your research. And by the way, before you go on any interview, guys, you go to your LinkedIn. If you have the name of the person who is interviewing you, you go to your LinkedIn and you go look at that person. They're going to see that you looked at that. You want that. They're going to go, oh, Brian checked me out. Great. You know, he's doing his homework. And then you're looking at the company and you're researching them and you're looking at what they've been doing in the news. So you want to know who you are talking to, if at all possible. You won't always know. This is another question. You're going to get this is a question you'll get in different forms. Anybody ever gotten this question? Anybody? Something like this? What's your greatest achievement? Or what is a challenge? Sometimes it'll be like this. What is a challenge you've had in your life? This is when you have a story ready. Have a story ready for, a time there was something challenging you had to overcome. That could be related to college. That could be related to working your way through college. It could be, something in the work environment, but it's got to have a happy ending. It can't be like, oh, I had this challenge and then it didn't work out, like a group project that was about to go south and you came up with an idea and you saved it, right? That's, again, it might be, this is the challenge question or your greatest achievement, something that you're proud of that you did in your life. That could be volunteer work. That could be a lot of different things. Questions about that question? But be ready. Have a story in your pocket about something you're proud of that you can talk about. This is the one everybody talks about. What's your greatest weakness? Figure this, it can't be, oh, I can't get up in the morning, right? Don't be that honest, right? You want to be honest. You want to be, if your job requires organization, you don't want to say, sometimes I'm really disorganized. That is going to be like a red flag, okay? But it might be that sometimes you overextend yourself. You've been working on your presentation skills. Whatever it is, whatever you decide this weakness is something that you are working on. Has anyone ever been asked this question? Guys?
Yes, I have.
I have.
Who's saying, I'm sorry, I can't see everybody. Who's saying,
Me, Matt.
And to me.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So my answer might not have been a great answer for this, but I said I'm a perfectionist and I overthink things sometimes. I don't know if that's a good answer or if that's a red flag, because I always heard to make your weakness into some sort of a positive. Right.
So perfectionist is one that a lot of people are using right now, and it sounds kind of trite. So I would, instead of using the word perfectionist, I would maybe say it a different way. Sometimes, I get really into the weeds on something, or I feel like I spend so much time on something, and that I'm learning, to that hitting a deadline is the most important thing, and making sure that it's as good as it can be without overthinking it. But the word perfectionism right now is the employers are like, oh, another perfectionist here. Everybody's a perfectionist.
Well, I got that from a job website. So I'm sure
it was a really popular answer for a while, but I wouldn't use it now. I think it's kind of become a crutch for a lot of people on that one. I try to be sincere, though, as sincere as you can. Jake, have you gotten that one?
I have. I think when I when I was applying for the Olympic internship, that was one of the ones that they had in there. It may not be what's your greatest weakness. What is something that you think you can improve on yourself or something along those lines?
Right. Yeah. What'd you come up with? I forgot. I feel like we worked on that.
I feel like it might have been the overextending. Like sometimes I can take on too much, but you know, if I get to that point, I can ask for help.
Right.
Like I know when I get to that point, and that's something that like I can, if I take on too much on a project or something, I can ask for help.
Right. And asking for help also is like, you know what, sometimes I don't want to ask for help, and I'm learning sometimes that I need to, you know, that could be a weakness. Madison, you were asked that question.
Yeah, I took senior seminar in the winter. So, you know, it was like a 7-day class, but that was a huge thing that we talked about. These types of interview, like these are the interview questions. And so I was literally thinking about like how you just said about how I have trouble asking for help. But then I'm trying to think about how I can make that so it's not so much like I'm not a team player, because you know I want to make sure that it's like a nice balance between like I want to make sure that I don't want it to seem like, oh, my way's the only way that will ever work, you know what I mean?
Well, and that could be a weakness. That can be a weakness that can also be a strength, you know, like I work well independently, but sometimes I have trouble sharing my ideas or letting go of control, right? That's a really honest answer, but I'm working on it, and I've been working on collaborating more in teams, right? But again, you do want it to be true to you to a certain extent. You do want it to be true about you as much as you can. So if you want to work through that weakness question, again, that's something that we can do. And I might ask you 20 questions to figure out what is the weakness, what is the thing, what is the challenge. And I would say, I think Jake is right. Think of it more as what is challenging to you versus a weakness. I hate that, the way they phrase that. But I will tell you, employers are not very creative with their questions. Some are, a few are, but mostly they will ask you these questions. Bless you. So another question, why, you know, you'll get different versions of this. Why should I hire you over someone else? What makes you the standout candidate? And what I would advise is you think about, this is where those real soft skills come in. You know what? No one will work harder than me. I have the strongest work ethic you've ever seen. If I don't get it the first time, I'm going to figure it out. I'm loyal. I'm dependable. I'm whatever it is that is your great superpower. It's help you succeed. This is what makes you a standout candidate. You know, I have so much interest in this. I know I'm going to be in this field. You know, I'm determined to be successful here. You know, but pull out the soft skills that make you who you are, and that's one way you can go with this. What makes you a standout candidate? Madison, were there some other, I'm trying to think what else we have. Were there some other questions that you got in senior sem that you thought were helpful to learn about?
Yeah, like you really touched the big ones, especially whenever it's like, tell me about yourself. Like we practiced that a lot in senior seminar. And then it's kind of funny whenever they ask you those like just like out of the blue questions, like so you mentioned that like you might get a master's. What would that be in? And of course I haven't. And so like I thought of something like right away. I'm like PR, because I have a minor in it. I might want to learn more. Like doing that mock interview type, it was just sort of like, I think a huge thing that we talked about was trying to think on your feet and be prepared to answer a lot more questions than you're actually going to answer.
That's right. And the other thing is there are some thinking on your feet is really what they're looking for. There are some employers, especially the creative agencies, may ask you really crazy things like, what fruit? If you could be a fruit, what would it be? If you could be an animal, what would it be? If you were on a desert island, who would you want to be with? Or who would you want to have lunch with? Dead or alive. It doesn't matter, guys, what your answer is.
Can I hop in real quick? This reminded me of something from when I had the virtual Olympics interview. It may be something like related to the company. Like there was like, what do the Olympics mean to you? And yeah.
Right. And that's important to them. And that really is back to, why do you want to work for us? What do we mean to you? Right? They may test your knowledge of, well, what do you know about us? They might just come out and ask, what do you know about us? What do you know about us? Our work. Well, I just saw in the news that you just launched this new sustainability program, and I'm really into the environment. Do your research, do your homework.
Can I just say something again real quick that I was just now reminded of? I got asked, what am I reading? Right.
Good one.
And the worst thing you could say is, I'm not reading anything.
Yeah.
You should say something like, I read the CNN, a homepage. Like, I just read like the news article. I read, the dictionary. You should be reading something.
Right. And you know what? They're going to ask you about things that they think are important characteristics that they value. People who read, people who are informed. But yeah, if you get tripped up on that, right? But again, I'm going to say it doesn't matter so much what your answer is, as long as you support it. You can come up with, I want to be on a desert. I want to have lunch with Ronald McDonald. Why Ronald McDonald? Because he brings so much joy to children. I just want to know how. It doesn't matter as long as you know why, as long as you can support it. And you could say, well, last night I read a cookbook because I wanted to learn a new gourmet recipe, whatever it is. But yeah, be thinking about and have those stories in your pocket. Challenge story, the thing you have to work on story, why you want to work for them, examples when you've succeeded, and the other thing is, you must have questions for them. Do not say, nope, you covered it all, I don't have any questions for you. No, yes, you do. You do not walk out of there without asking them questions about, what makes a successful new employee. If I were to come on, what would you want? What would be your priority in the first few months? You're not going to ask about vacation. You're not going to ask about salary. You're not going to ask about benefits. Unless they bring it up, unless they bring all this up, you're not asking about that in a first interview. But again, these are things that we can practice. After the interview, you must, I cannot stress this enough, write a thank you note. Here's one, kind of a basic. Write a thank you note, email. If you want to do handwritten, you could do that too. Put it in the mail immediately, like walk out the door, put a stamp on it, and write to every person who you make contact with at that organization. Make each thank you note different. Some employers will not hire you without that thank you note. This is also, a thank you note can be that moment. Let's say you kind of bobbled a question, or you walked out, you know how you always walk out of an interview and like, oh, I can't believe I didn't say blah, 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 when they asked me blah, blah, blah. This is your point. This is a time in the thank you note you could say, I was thinking more about, you asked me about this, And I wanted you to know that, you know, I worked on a project where I used those leadership skills. Whatever it is that you were like, you went blank, you might be able to kind of come back. Or, you know, here's another example of my work if you'd like to take a look. This is just another point of contact, a way to help seal that deal. Okay, thank you notes, very, very important. Quick on salary negotiation, okay. I'm gonna be frank, right now, you're not in a great position to negotiate very much. But what you wanna do is find out what other people in the position are making, you know, Google it, look online. You're not going to talk about salary in your first interview. If they ask you what your salary range is, your salary that you must have is your bottom. That's your bottom. Like the salary that you would take it at, that you say, okay, this salary, yeah, I would take this job for that. And then go up 5 to 10,000. That's your range. There's usually a few $1,000s to play with. In this market, I don't know. But usually you could ask, they're going to come in with something. You could ask for a few thousand more. But keep in mind, if you're getting full benefits and other things, that might, that's money in your pocket too. Vacation, paid vacation, benefits. So keep all that in mind. If they offer you the job right, you know, and you love it, I still don't want you to accept it right there if you can help it. You're going to think about it, and you'll get right back to them 24 hours. Or if you are considering other opportunities at the same time, you may need to let them know. I have to tell you, I really appreciate your offer, but I do have a couple of other opportunities that I'm looking at. Oh, well, when can we get back to you? When can you get back to us? See if you can get a week, maybe. If they think that other employers are looking at you at the same time, that just kind of, they're not going to pull the job out from under you. They'll be excited. Oh. And at that point, you might be able to come back and ask for a couple thousand more. In this market, there's probably not a lot of play in your first job. Questions about that? It's a conversation. And if you get to that point and you want to discuss it, you know, again, we're here for you. Again, guys, these job platforms are here for you. Client Connect, Handshake, Career Shift was one of those online resources with the university. You've got LinkedIn Easy Apply, Indeed, Monster, all those. I'm going to tell you, and this is really important, guys, if you apply through Indeed or Monster Career Builder, before you apply, you want to go to your LinkedIn. You want to see if there's a Temple alum at the place where you're applying, and you want to see if you have any connection to that company. Somebody just called me this morning and said, an alum who wants to work at WHYY, there's a specific opening, and a friend called me and said, hey, would you talk to this guy and see if you can make the introduction to our connections at WHYY. So what's he doing? That's very smart, right? He's going to apply with everybody else, but he's also going to see if he can jump to the head of the line and stand out with an introduction. It doesn't mean he's a great candidate, or it's saying, hey, make sure you look at this person. You want, if there's any way possible, for someone to be your ambassador and help you stand out from everybody else who's applying through that same job portal if there's any way possible. And that's what your network is for. So anytime before you apply, you want to go to your network. Who do you know? How can you be contacted? Who can put that resume in front of someone? Help put your resume in front of someone and say, hey, don't forget this. Or find a way to get directly to a recruiter. Go online and look. Try to make the special effort. Don't just go, boop, okay, went into that dark hole with everybody else. That's not enough in this particular environment, guys. Do more. Do more if you can, and we're here to help you do that. Use your network. Again, remember these keywords are really, really important. And that's it. I am here. You can email me directly. Karen Demler is also available. She's very good. She's with the University Career Center, but she does satellite hours with us, and she knows our industry well. She knows our students well. Out of all the coaches over at the University Career Center, go to Karen Demler. She knows our program well. If you've got some, and I've had people do this, I've got an interview tomorrow. Can you help me prepare? If there's any way I can, I will stop what I'm doing and I will try to help prepare you. If you have a question about applying and you feel like you're trying to make some connection, if I can help you, I absolutely will. But also call on your professors. Look on LinkedIn. Who does your network know? Okay. Questions, guys?
Can we email you resumes to review?
Yeah, you can, or you can just, what you can do is upload them to Klein Connect, but if you want my eyes on it, email me or upload it to Klein Connect and email me as well and say, hey, I just uploaded my resume to Klein Connect to make sure my eyes get on it.
And where could we like review this again, like this recording?
So we will, I'm trying to get out of, I'm trying to get my gallery view back on. Why am I having problems here? Maybe it's in here. Okay.
If you stop sharing your screen. Yeah.
What's the stop share? We'll send this to all of you if you like. We'll just send you the recording. I'm also going to put this particular recording in resources in Klein Connect because this is the last job hunt workshop we're doing for the month. So if you have friends who are like, oh, you know, I need to see something, you can send them to this. We'll put it out in an email as well, but feel free to, we'll send it to you specifically since you came to this workshop. What else? I know we've gone over time. But again, even if you feel like you hit a wall or you feel discouraged or things are not happening, I want you to know this is an unusual time. It's not you, okay? It's not you. You may have to pivot. You may have to go to something you wouldn't consider. I talked to a student yesterday who had a teaching job with full benefits, but she wants to be in radio. And I said, well, the radio industry is cutting right now, right? And you can use all those communication skills just like I do as a teacher for now. Doesn't mean you can't come back to that when the market opens up again. But if you get a full-time job with benefits right now, or you have a job with benefits, or there's something you might want to grab onto it. I am telling our alumni who are coming in and saying, I don't really like the job I'm in. I'm like, you know what? Hold on, because you can look while you're in that job. But this is a difficult time, and your job hunt may take longer. You may have to volunteer or do a paid internship even, you know, where normally I would say, no, you're gonna oh, fine, you know, hang in there. The industry, it might just take you a little bit. You may need to do what you need to do. And just, I want you to be prepared for that. And I don't want you to take it personally. There are many alumni who graduated in terrible job markets who tell that story. One of them is John Zissimos, who's a vice president of Google. I don't know if you've had the pleasure of listening to him before, but he talks about graduating in this terrible, terrible job market, and he had to do this, and then he did this. And you know what? He found his way. It's going to take persistence and grit, but what I want you to know is we're here to help you with that. And Temple alum are going to be stepping up and trying to help you guys make it. So we'll be here. You know, for those of you who have time in this, a semester or two, get any experience you can put under your belt. Anything else you can. And then for those of you who've graduated, create opportunities, create experiences, do what you need to do, but keep creating so that there's something, or volunteering, whatever you need to do, so you can put something, so when that recruiter says, oh, so what have you been doing since everyone's been laid off and whatever? Oh, I learned this new skill, or I've been working on my editing, or I've been volunteering my skills for this nonprofit that really means a lot to me. Those are the kinds of stories that mean a lot to your future employers. How much grit did you have? How much persistence did you have? You know, what were you doing when things were, because that's the kind of people they want to hire. If you need a pep talk, I'll be here.
I just wanted a little bit of clarification about the broadcast industry, that they are not hiring people or slow on hiring people only because, is it because they just want to maintain distance and that?
No, it's a combination of COVID. Yeah, it's a combination of advertising, the economy. It's really the economy. The economy is tanking right now. That means people aren't buying advertising. Advertising is what drives broadcasting. That's what pays the salaries of all those broadcasters you see, right? So that means they're having to lay off. They're having to find different ways to get on the air. They're giving buyouts, and they can't spend money right now. They're waiting to see what happens. So it's, and the reason they're not doing internships, yes, that might be right now, they don't know how to bring you, they haven't figured out maybe how to create virtual experiences that are meaningful for interns. So in terms of internships, yes, that may be just because of COVID-19, not because of pay, right? But in terms of the industry itself, everything has come to a halt in terms of hiring. Right now, they're trying to cut their expenses. I have lived through this before. It happened in 2008, 2009. It comes back. It will come back, but it's going to be difficult. One thing to be aware of, and I'm hearing employers say this, it's bad for the industry, but they're going to let go a lot of experienced people. They're expensive. They have a lot of benefits. They take a lot of vacation. Who are they going to want to hire when they can hire? Young, less expensive talent. So while on the big picture, I say that's bad for industry, it could be opportunity for you. That's happening in advertising as well. Their veterans of the industry are getting out, and there's room for new, young talent like you. But you have to be ready, right? You have to be ready to find those opportunities when they come, and they will come. As soon as things start picking up again, if there's a vaccine, there's, you know, as soon as we can, it may be a year, but I will tell you, if you look in Klein Connect, there are opportunities, guys. I'll show you right now. Here, I'm gonna share my screen again real quick since you all are hanging with me. I am seeing companies start to put things in. Here's the other thing you should know. When you see things that are not in Philadelphia, don't worry about it because everything's remote. Almost all of these opportunities, and a lot of them are with nonprofits, they're willing to hire people from anywhere in the country. This digital media manager position, Atlanta, Georgia, remote. Right? They don't really care where you are. That's one thing we're seeing is changing. I am posting opportunities every day. If you don't see exactly what you thought you were looking for, start opening up some of these things and looking, because again, you might want to pivot. What do we have? But again, elections, guys, all the campaigns, you know, that might be a way, you know, get involved in a campaign, use your skills there. Everything is going to get fired up, you know, here, right? If you're looking for something that would be good on your resume and a way to use your skills, or there is a mission or some organization or issue that you care deeply about, this is a good time to go to them and say, what can I do for you? I can shoot, I can edit, I can do social media, I can create content, I can help you with a website, I can write news copy, I know AP writing style, whatever that is. That would be another good way to stay involved during this time, and then we'll see what happens. Yes.
So in terms of like the broadcasting industry, when's the best time to apply for a job if you're graduating in December?
So what you should be doing right now is talking to all the recruiters and anybody you can network with. But honestly, they're not really going to want to talk to you until you're available, almost right, you know, that last month.
Okay.
You know, they're not. Now, that's not to say that people aren't scouting, because they do. They're scouting for that next generation of talent. So, and we'll be bringing people onto campus. You know, the Waterman Broadcast Company is always scouting. Hearst is always scouting. Sinclair is always scouting. And then they're just waiting for the go-ahead to start hiring. But get your reel, work on your reel right now, because that's what they're going to be looking at. You don't happen to speak Spanish, do you? Have any other language?
No, unfortunately, no. That would help.
Yeah, but your reel for you is going to be very, very important. That's what they're going to be looking at. And I know you want them to be excited about you, and then when they have an opportunity to call you. Yeah, Madison.
Are you still gonna have that little mini career fair?
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's going to be virtual.
Mm-hmm. Do you know anybody who's like already gonna be there, or you haven't like sat around and invited?
I'm sure it'll be, try to bring in Comcast, Ogilvy, NBC, Universal, but again, some of these QVC usually comes. Urban came last year, but again, some of these guys may not, because, and some may be more interested in coming. So we'll see what materializes. But yes, we'll be trying to do these events virtually. Sinclair, I can tell you, what's his name? Kevin Olivas is always looking for new talent. They have over 200 stations across the country. And if you don't have an issue with working for Sinclair, which you should look into, but they're always hiring. They have to. He is constantly scouting, and he's very Temple friendly. So you could just find him online and tell him I sent you if you want to send him a reel and ask for feedback. He's very good at following people. And even if you don't want to work for Sinclair, Kevin is very good at giving feedback. Yeah, Monica.
I was wondering how long you think a producer reel should be, just because I've seen it like at all different lengths. I've seen 15, I've seen 20 minutes, I've seen 30. Like, I don't know, like for your first one, how long do you think it is? Like it should
I think you put on your very best stuff and no more. Like if you have anything that's questionable or like you're not sure, leave it off. If it's shorter, fine. I think 15 minutes is all. Anyone who can't see what they want in 15 minutes, they're not going to look at much more, probably. You could put a whole show on. I mean, people do that, or blocks, your A block.
Yeah, I was gonna do I was trying to structure it like teases first, like headlines, and then like an A block, and then I don't know, sprinkle in some more teases here and there.
And I'm happy to talk to you about it. We had the TV. Did you come to the, we just put in resources. We had how to put a reel together, and we had a producer from NBC.
Yeah, I had work. I saw that one. I couldn't go.
We put the Zoom recording in resources. And if you'll email me, I'll send it to you. There's some good tips in there.
Okay, cool. I'll check it
Hey
out.
guys, I hate to leave you. I'm talking to alumni about posting some jobs, and I'm supposed to be there at 1:30, so I got to leave you guys, hopefully to bring in a new opportunity for you. Thank you all for coming, and we'll get this recording to you, okay? I hope this was helpful. Stay in touch.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye, everyone.